800-951-0592. Gold's up $17 here. 1962 now. Silver 23.35 is now unchanged. The Dow is down almost 200 points. Debt ceiling, one way or the other. Listen, you see how worthless this whole thing is. I mean, at the end of the day, what are we talking about? On paper, they're trying desperately to say, see, we cut 0.1%. And that was on paper. The reality was they cut nothing. The reality is they're going to spend more this year than last year, period. And I get it. Listen, of course, Social Security payments went way up. You're going to spend more. Medicare, it went higher. Interest on the debt, it went way higher. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, okay, let's just use your logic of discretionary spending. This cut that you're saying, it's not a cut. It's not a cut. We're just going to spend less than what we agreed to 5 months ago when we increased the spending. We're going to take some of that spending away. The whole IRS one, wow, thanks for that $1 billion. Way to get the axe out on that. They have no intention. Listen, they know exactly what they're doing with the IRS. I hope you guys figured it out. Right? Where's this $10 billion they were talking about? Of course, even that's ridiculous, right? They gave them $80 billion. Oh, we're going to take $10 billion back. Now, how about $1 billion? You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even know if it'll make that. We'll see how all of that shakes out because the voicemail was not working. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, just to say, it's kind of interesting if you just think for a moment that if you take the budget of the United States from 2017, 2018, if we just simply put that budget back in, the pre-COVID budget, we'd have a balanced budget. The tax revenue of today would cover the budget of 2017, 2018. There'd be no deficit. That's how fast things are moving. That's how quickly things are moving in the wrong direction. We'd have a balanced budget just with 2017, 2018's budget, Joe. No deficit.
Well, I would have to check that out. I don't know that necessarily. It'd be close. I'll say it'd be close
with today's taxes. Not with 2017 taxes. With today's taxes, it would work.
Yeah,
yes,
with today's revenue.
With today's taxes.
Yeah. The last 2 years of Trump, the first 2 years of Biden, and I think it was the last 2.5 and the first 2.5. So the last 5 years, right? The deficit has grown by over $10 trillion.
Yep.
Of course, in the last 5 years, you got to add another another 4 or 5 trillion from the Fed too. So really, it's up almost $15 trillion in just the last 5 years, and it's going to get so much worse, and that's really kind of the biggest problem. And as I was getting ready to say, because the voicemail was down, gold's up 17 now. Every deal that we had, and we had a bunch of deals on Memorial Weekend, are still in effect. $20 gold pieces, $2,300. This is the closest to spot, especially with the move today, that they've been in quite some time. $10 gold. This is still the buy of the day, right? $1,125. We've got 10th ounce American Gold Eagles at $275. Silver Eagles were the cheapest around at $790 a roll. I'm going to honor those for the entire rest of the day today at 800-951-0592. The central bank gold buying craze continues, and more countries announcing, hey, by the way, we're still buying gold. Poland added another 15 tons of gold in April alone. Poland, who has been buying gold now since the fall of 2021, they plan to add 100 tons to their reserve. They added 100 tons in 2022, and they said that they are on pace to reach that goal. Iraq, which made one purchase last year, announced they're back in the gold buying business last Thursday. Iraq bought 2.5 tons of gold. Iraq saying that, hey, unlike last year when we made one big buy, they plan on buying small quantities multiple times instead of the one big one. So Iraq announcing its intentions of boosting its gold reserves. Last year, they increased their gold holdings by 35%. They said, hey, that's a good number to look for this year as well. By the way, central banks in the first quarter of this year set a record by buying 228 metric tons. Now, that's a first quarter record. Central banks have bought more gold in a quarter. Go back to last year, Q3, Q4. But this is the most buying by central banks to start a year since they started keeping that record since data collection began. According to the World Gold Council, they said that Q1 central bank demand follows last year's record annual purchase of 1,078 metric tons. So, Jason, when you think about it, at 228, which normally the first quarter is a low quarter, that would be 912 metric tons. And it follows the same pattern as it did last year. Jason, we'll end up breaking the record that we set last year for central bank gold buying.
Yeah, record gold buying. And in most countries, gold is at its record high. We've been flirting with that for a while this year, so we'll have our record high gold prices. I mean, that's just simple supply and demand. Even with the paper market's always trying to weigh it down, right, Joe? It's you get that much demand, the price will hit record highs, and that's going to continue to happen because there doesn't seem to be a slowing. And even if, let's say, 2024, we don't have record buying, which I think there might be, the price is just going to keep getting pushed, Joe. It's obvious that these BRICS nations or these BRICS wannabe countries want to get into a gold-backed sort of monetary system, and we're going to have the old gold-backed monetary system versus this cryptocurrency, this digital dollar, so to speak, and good luck to see to who's going to win that, right, Joe? Because I get the feeling that the technological advancements of society is just that people just they think that their credit card is money. That people just don't get that gold is money. Though they want their credit card, they think that is money, and that idea that's in so many people's heads may win out, and that's when gold's really going to do good too, because they're going to rip you off in that digital money. But they won't. You can't get ripped off with gold, Joe. It's just gold, right?
It's just gold. What is the best long-term investment? Americans weighed in. I'll tell you the results when we get back. (800) 951-0592. Joe and Jason here on this Tuesday. We got $20 gold on sale, $10 gold on sale, 10th ounce on sale. We got Silver Eagles on sale. Well, last day here because of all of our, let's just call them issues that have now since been resolved. What is the best long-term investment? Pretty interesting question. And last year, real estate was number one. Matter of fact, real estate has been number one since 2013. And, of course, you think this is the era of free money that's coming to an end. Now, here's something I think the American public, pretty smart, really. And this is why I tell everybody, trust your instincts with gold, especially those that haven't bought yet. You always have all these. It's not hard. It's not complicated. When you buy from Patriot, you're going to get exactly what you bought, period. End of discussion. No questions asked. It's so simple. It's so easy. Trust your instincts. We've always had good instincts. I think in general, one of the great American quality is people's instincts. So the question is, what is the best long-term investment? Now, I told you, number one's been real estate. It's been number one since 2013. Last year, 45% said real estate was number one. This year, and again, here's the instincts part, it's down to 35%, right? And people are getting it. Okay, wait a minute. If interest rates are going to be high, then yeah, it's, we're riding the housing boom and bust cycle here. Stocks, well, they're having a tough go because they're down to third. Stocks is now third with 18%. Now gold came in second. Last year they were third at 15%, right behind stocks. This year, 26% said that gold is the best long-term investment. By the way, also making the list, savings accounts. Okay. I guess that's a little better now. At least savings accounts now are paying some interest. And then bonds was also on the list. When you put crypto in, crypto only gets 4% of the vote. Last year, Jason, crypto had 8%. So again, I think this really does probably the best job I've seen of people saying, okay, if you really put me right now, I like real estate and then gold and then stocks. Give it another year. I would not be. I'll tell you this right now. I'll be shocked if by 2025 that gold's not number one.
I got to ask this though. I mean, should gold even be on this list? And this is just me, Joe. You've heard me say it many times. I think gold isn't really even an investment. I hold it as savings, protected whole savings. An ounce of gold and a cow, for instance, has been the same value for so long. And so when inflation happens and the money meisters pull all their schemes, you're safe in gold. Now, I could see you using the word investment with gold when, hey, I should put my money here because things are going weird in the next year or two, and I want to hold my value. But, I mean, really, isn't it savings? Isn't it really, if you put that list together and which one's best at savings and you add cash in there, gold is number one for savings. It's every single year, year after year, forever. But for me, Joe, I shy away from the word investment just because 1 ounce of gold is not going to buy 2 cows in the future. An investment, stocks are a good investment, but you have to know what you're doing. You'd have to know the companies. If you just mindlessly throw your money into a 401k, you're not going to win. You have to know those companies that are going to succeed, and you have to take the risk that you're going to lose your money. So to me, Joe, should it even be? I've seen the chart you're looking at. I actually saw that chart like a week ago. I just wonder why. Dave Ramsey. Anyone listen to Dave Ramsey? He hates gold. It's the worst investment. It's terrible. I've never heard anyone tell Dave Ramsey, "Hey, dude, it's not an investment. It's savings. This is where you're safe." He talks about it, real estate being such a safe investment or a safe place to be. Yeah, say that to the guy who just got hail damage, has to pay $5,000 for a deductible to get that roof fixed, or if he has to fix the water heater, or when that tax bill comes in every year. All the problems that gold doesn't have, right, Joe? So I get when people say investment, but I like people to understand that what you're doing is you're protecting yourself, because there's some rich guys out there that are pulling lots of money out of the bank, right? They're trying to get under the $250,000 level. They don't know where to put their money. They have no idea where to put it. When they figure out, Joe, that, well, maybe I better put it here because I don't know where else to put it, gold's going to just shriek to all-time highs. It's going to go so high. And the inflation, Joe, that the inflation has not stopped, and I don't think they're going to be able to control it. And so gold is going to be protection and savings. It's pretty much the place to be with any money you got sitting on the sidelines, Joe.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of truth to what Jason said. I think, though, when looking at, okay, let's look at the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, so the dollar, right, had hit another one of its little peaks, right? The dollar, which is always stair steps down as the debt blows up. We are in a cycle where we expect the dollar to head considerably lower again. Think about the debt ceiling. Think about what we just talked about. Hey, you can take all of the defense and all the discretionary spending, and they'd take it to zero, and we'd still run trillion-dollar-plus deficits. The crowding out, the deficit taking so much of the debt now. Think about it. 1/8 of government spending now is interest on the debt. And Jason, that number continues to grow. So that means, look at all these countries. Why are they buying gold? What are they selling to buy the gold? They're selling dollars to buy gold, right? This is kind of the thing, right? We're in this cycle right now where the dollar's probably on the way down. So the next 5 to 10 years, I get it, right? Gold looks really good as savings. Yep. It looks really good as an investment. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. (800-951-0592). Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour, wrapping up this Tuesday. And just think about it. From 1980 to 2000, right, gold was terrible. Right? It went from $800 to $250. And, of course, what was going on? We had, obviously, the inflation of the 70s. But then Alan Greenspan and the Social Security slush fund, what a great robbery of people's wealth that was. Really was, because Social Security was pay as you go. And then Alan Greenspan said, you know what, we gotta collect extra now for when the baby boomers retire. And, of course, Reagan passes this huge tax cut for corporations, and government debt spending really took off, right? Credit cards became the norm, student loan debts, right? I mean, debt. But since 2000, right, it's gone the other way, hasn't it? Right? Gold's gone from 250 to 2,000. Well, what's changed? Well, the answer that's changed is they're unable to hide how much debt they're really creating, right? Social Security, that trust fund, they had a lot of it in there. Of course, they spent it all, right? There was no lockback, but they were able to hide a lot of this spending, a lot of this debt. And, of course, now this whole system, because what is banking really built on? It's built on debt. And think about what these people said in this poll. Real estate has been the best long-term investment since 2013. But it took a big drop, didn't it? It went from 45% down to 35%. And the higher the rates go, right, the less attractive real estate is, right? We already know commercial real estate's in the toilet. And Jason, I think this pattern, unfortunately, where the next 20 years from 2020 to 2040, I think is probably going to be the big move, if you will, out of dollars, out of debt. And I think, again, we're going to end up in some form of a digital world. But all of this debt resets with this, and that's the part they're not telling the public about. Hey, by the way, we're going to reset. You're actually going to get a lot less digital than you think.
And housing, property can only be an investment if you rent it out, if you turn it into an asset. You can't. I know people think that, I bought this house and I bought it at $400,000 and now it's valued at $600,000 and I've made $200,000. Well, yeah, what time frame did it take to get there? And I know housing went up pretty quickly in 2021, 2022, but generally, what's the price of everything else around you? Really? And did it keep up with inflation? Maybe it did, yeah. Housing keeps up with inflation, but unlike gold, housing has upkeep, it has taxes, it has insurance, it has all these things when you live in the house that you have to pay for. And if you're not receiving rent from a property, then it's a cost to you. So gold is where you want to be to hold that value and to watch the increase of gold go up as the inflation tears through the system, Joe. I mean, people have no idea, Joe. 2024 and 2025, and even the next few years past that, they're going to be some incredibly financially painful years. And people just got to get their brain ready for this and understand you better sack some gold and silver away, Joe. You better put it away and have that safety cushion that you really need to have for yourself and your family.
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, we're coming right back with the half-empty cup.